There's nothing people love quite like pizza, but most home options kinda suck. What I'm going to do is teach you an option that doesn't suck, teach you how to make it in your home so you can love it on your kitchen table. Wait. Hello and welcome to the Kitchen Experiment. I'm your host, Tim Fitzpatrick. Pizza may be the greatest thing that civilization has ever created. But for how much we love it, we'll take some pretty mediocre options at home. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to show you how to make a pizza in your home that's better than any shitty delivery or any frozen pizza you may buy at the store. Now when you make pizza at home, there's two things to consider. The first is the dough and the second is the oven. After that, it's all up to you. The dough that I use is a hand-stretched, thin-style pizza. If you're more into Chicago style, I'll show you that in a later video. Now, you're going to want to give yourself about 30 minutes to actually make the pizza, or make the dough, and 24 hours for it to cold rise in the fridge. Why are we giving it 24 hours? Well, because baking is chemistry. Everything needs precision, especially when you're working with yeast. So you can just use the ingredients I'm showing you here and follow my instructions and trust that I know what I'm doing. And if you want to know the why, I'll show you that in a later video. Start by mixing the water and the yeast together in a bowl and give them about 10 minutes to activate. Next, pour about half the flour into the bowl, then add your salt and your sugar, then pour the rest of the flour on top of it. Use a spatula and mix it up for about a minute. After this, you're going to want to add your oil. From here on out, you're going to be using your hands to mix the dough, and you're going to mix until it's cleaning off the bowl you have it in, leaving no big bits behind. After that, you're going to throw it on the counter, and you're going to knead that son of a bitch for a very long time, probably about 5 minutes. You're going to be a little tired. That's okay. You're going to keep going until the dough no longer sticks to the counter, but still is a bit tacky. Next, grab a scale and a knife and portion that large ball into 5 10-ounce balls. You can make a ball by folding the dough back on itself a few times and then rolling it on the counter to smooth it all out. Dust a little flour on the Tupperware container and put your balls in there. Lightly brush them with olive oil to keep them from sticking to each other and put them in the fridge. And after about 30 minutes, you're going to put a lid on them to keep them airtight. Give it 24 hours before you use them and this dough will last for about a week. Let's fast forward to when we can actually make a pizza. You're going to need to set up your oven a bit differently than you have it because you need to set it up in a way that the air on top of the pizza is going to be hotter than the surface it's cooking on. So to do this, we're going to do two things. First is we're going to use a pizza stone. A pizza stone will retain heat and it's going to pull moisture away from the pizza, giving the crust a crispy texture. Second thing we're going to do is shrink the oven. In my oven, the heat comes from the bottom, so I need to make better use of that, and I do that by taking one of the racks, wrapping it in aluminum foil with the reflective side out, and then I take the second rack, slide it to the bottom of the oven so it's about 3 inches off the surface. Then you take the aluminum wrapped rack and you're going to slide that in about 4 inches above this. This is going to make better use of the heat and allow the air on top of the pizza to be hotter than the stone surface. Now that your oven's all set up, we can actually make a pizza. I set my oven to 500 degrees, which is as hot as it goes. And while the oven is preheating, I'm going to get all set up. I'm making a margharita pizza here, so feel free to follow along or make whatever the hell you want to your pizza. At this point, you can go ahead and get out all your toppings, cheese, and sauce. You're also going to want to get out a bowl and put about a half a cup of flour in there. Now you'll need to grab one of your dough balls, and I do that carefully. You need to keep the shape of the dough ball, otherwise it's not going to roll out right. If you're having trouble, use a dough blade, and if you don't have one of those, just take a paper plate and fold it in half. That's what I'll do. Set the dough ball in the flour bowl and lightly coat each side in flour. This is where it's going to get a bit tricky because we're going to roll out the pizza by hand, and this is going to take a lot of practice. Lightly dust the counter in flour, then set the smooth side down. Wait, before you do that though, back up. Clean your counter, because it's probably been a while, and you need a really smooth surface to work this on, so go ahead and give that a scrub. Start by using your fingertips to press down on the center of the ball and work your way to the edge, leaving about an inch of a border. Go back and do this until the entire ball now looks more like a bowl. I'm right-handed, so my right hand is going to cover the left hand where the middle fingers meet. From here, I'm going to sweep my left hand out in a counterclockwise motion while my right hand holds the dough in place. Continue this until the pizza is roughly 12 inches. Then from here, you're going to pick it up and set it across the back of your hands and do your final shaping and sizing. If you're having trouble with the motion, think of it like swimming. Like if you were doing the breaststroke, but you're really, really bad at it, so just kind of move your arms out there, little baby circles. And you can move them in closer and closer until your hands are always overlapping. Look down at them, and this is the motion you need to have. I'm going to use a pizza peel here because I have one, but you could easily use a wooden cutting board or a cookie sheet for this next part. Dust it with a bit of flour and set the dough on top of it. Next, sauce your pizza, being careful not to get any sauce on the crust or on the peel, either of which will cause the pizza to stick to it. For a margharita, add some basil and then top with some fresh mozzarella. I like to finish mine off with some smoked sea salt and a drizzle of olive oil. Your oven should be done preheating by now, so just go ahead and slide the pizza onto the stone and shut the oven. Set a timer for 3.5 minutes, then check on the pizza after the timer goes off. Turn it and set it back in the oven on the stone for about another 1.5 minutes. When it's done, the bottom of the crust should be crispy and have some nice brown char spots on it, and the cheese should be melted and slightly blistered with the sauce steaming. Well, that's it. You've made your first pizza. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't look great or even good. It takes practice. There are a lot of variables here and a lot of places to screw up. I'll show you my sauce recipe in a later episode when I show you how to make fresh pasta. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that or any other episode. If you have any questions, you can find me at tfitzpatrick85, and don't forget to share your results using the hashtag #TheKitchenExperiment. And until next week, keep it in the kitchen, folks.